action. Hi, I'm Chef David Williams, and we're here at Sullivan University in beautiful Louisville, Kentucky, and we're gonna make some wheat bread. All right, so we're gonna make some wheat bread today, and this is a continuation of the straight dough mixing method. As this is a lean dough, we do have some fat, quite a bit. We are using active dry yeast, so we reconstituted that in some 105 to 110 degree water. Okay, we got that nice and smooth, just 4 times its weight, looking good. Got a little bit of activity going on in there, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that in there. And I might use a little bit of my other water. Where'd my other water go? To rinse out the leftover, the residual yeast, because you get a little bit stuck in there. Just bring me yours. Do you have yours?
No, I have a wait in here.
Well, this is good TV. So I use a little of my residual water to clean out my my yeast container, make sure I get it all in there. And one thing that there's a little bit of controversy about is I would never add anything else to my yeast at this point, whether it's my sugar, which is actually food for the yeast, or certainly my liquid milk, because there's lactic acid in there. And although this milk has been cooked, and it's probably very unlikely to harm the yeast, I don't want to use, thank you very much, I don't want to use anything that might slow my yeast fermentation down. So I'm going to put a little bit of this in here just to rinse this out, and then I can put the rest of the water in there with the yeast. It doesn't hurt it once that yeast is reconstituted. Now we're going to put all of our other ingredients in there, but we're going to start with our shield, which is our flour. You can use your hands for a funnel like that, just tip it in. And you'll notice that we have substantially more white flour than wheat flour, and that's a good thing. Number one, all these brown flakes in this whole wheat flour, those are bran, and those will cut the gluten strands. Also, it's a more absorbent flour. It'll draw more moisture, so if I had more wheat flour, it might dry my dough out. Okay, finally, wheat flour has a bit of a bitter flavor, so if you put too much of that in, you're gonna get that bitterness in your bread, which is undesirable. Now, everything else can go in on top of that. I don't necessarily make a well or anything, and I don't care what touches what at this point. Okay, all those ingredients can be close to one another. And finally, my evaporated milk. It's unusual that we use evaporated milk in the foods or in baking. Typically, it's going to be dry milk. So good job spotting that that was a liquid milk product. Sometimes people confuse that for dry milk, and it is not. That will certainly change the dryness of your dough if you do, and certainly also the functions of that milk. All right, so we're gonna, oh shoot, what am I doing? This, why did you stop me? This is not the modified straight dough mixing method. That comes later on, where we would actually use the paddle. We're gonna use the hook for this. Oopsie. We're gonna start off at kind of a slow speed to let this dough start to form. And then we're going to kick it up to medium speed, give it that full development, just like we did our white bread. We're going to do all of our development in the mixer. I don't see any reason to pay for the mixer and then not get the work out of it. So we're going to run this at about a medium speed, or as fast as it takes to throw the dough off of the hook. I don't want the dough riding the hook. I want the hook traveling through the dough, basically imitating that kneading function that your hands would do. Again, this takes about 8 to 10 minutes. If you did it by hand, it'd take upwards of 20 minutes. The machine is just more relentless and much more efficient and effective. You can get into the argument of which is better, but personally, from a productivity stance, this is going to get me done a lot faster, and it's going to allow me to go do something else while this is working. I set timers on newer commercial mixers for 8 minutes. When it shuts off, I come over, I check for window pane, and I go. Okay? So at this point, I want you to go back to your table, and I want you to set up yours and get it running. When I call you over to check window pane, well, you guys did that yesterday. Lee, you need to see that, but we'll check window pane in about 8 minutes, and we'll go from there.